doing?
Good evening.
I was like, about the Avengers, and I was like, no, and I was like, is there any dinner in it? Boy,
It's coming. That's me. You had a horse and ribeye. You.
like, well done.
I do. I ever get sick, which is apparently. Call to order. Pleasant Hill School District Board Meeting for Monday, May 6th, 2024. We will begin as usual with minutes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, 1.2 mission statement. Sure, there's it's been a while since I have. Very much sure.
Our mission is to graduate all students with high levels of academic and personal achievement, ready for post-secondary excellence, prepared for productive, compassionate citizenship through research-based instruction and a collaborative system of support.
Thank you, John. 2.0 changes or additions to the agenda. Three point oh, introductions and attendance. Will we introduce our audience?
I'll start on Daryl Anthony, budget from members.
Don Hilbert, Budget Committee.
Jake Hoffman, Vice Mayor.
West Cyber Budget Committee. Evening, gentlemen, thank you for coming. 4.0 public forum. Excuse me. Individuals who are on site during this portion of the board meeting, members of the public are specifically invited to present items of commendation and or concerns. At the discretion of the board chair, further public participation may be allowed at the specific time agenda items are under consideration by the board. This is district policy DPTH. For those viewing online, the school district posts the upcoming agenda on our website, pleasanthill.k12.or.us, Friday before regularly scheduled Monday school board meetings. This will allow for public comment prior to the board meeting. Please click on the tab provided to share your comments with the school board to consider at the upcoming meeting. Personnel matters may not be discussed in public at a school board meeting. Members of the public who have personnel concerns or commendations should share them directly with the district superintendent. Brings us to 5 items. Assuming we have no public comment, I apologize. 5.0 budget orientation.
All right, I know I sent you guys that, I have printed out, if anybody would like to see it on paper. So they didn't leave it there. Okay. Sorry. Oh. Well, I thought I had to plug this in on that. Well, are we gonna have them plugged into this game then? Okay, sorry. We're gonna do here. This is, yeah. So very easy to reach, so probably good thing, it problems. All right, well, thank you. This is our budget orientation to prepare for our budget meeting coming up in a few weeks. Appreciate, especially our budget committee members for helping us out with this project. So the purpose of this is just to describe what is involved in being on the budget committee and what the budget is for. Let me go to the next. The purpose of the budget. It presents a financial plan estimating expenditures and revenues for a fiscal year. It creates authority to spend public money in accordance to Oregon budget law. It provides certification of property taxes to the county assessor. If you have any questions as we go along, feel free to interject. So this process is designed to be a joint effort between the people affected by the budget and the officials responsible for providing the services. All committee members have equal authority and responsibility. The budget law requires us to designate a budget officer, set up a budget committee, publish public notice of the budget committee meeting. Our responsibility is to receive the superintendent's budget message and review the proposed budget, hear and consider public comment, discuss and make changes to the proposed budget as needed, eventually approve the budget, approve an amount or rate of total taxes to be certified by the county assessor, and then we forward the approved budget to the school board for additional public hearing and adoption. All meetings are subject to public meeting laws. All budget discussions must be held in these public meetings. A quorum, which is 6 for Pleasantville, must be present to conduct business. The majority vote is required to take action. The budget committee may request and receive additional information from district staff. Any member of the public may speak. The budget committee may establish time limits and other policies for the public comment period. The proposed budget becomes public as soon as the budget document is released to the budget committee. And we're looking to have that by the 17th at the latest. It's usually Thursday, but Friday the 17th would be our latest, so you have it prior to that budget committee meeting. We will, oh, and that's the old version. It's not being published on May 5th. I'm sorry, it's being published on May 12th. In the Register Guard, it's already on our website, and it'll be on our reader board. Our first meeting is May 20th. We will elect officers, receive the budget message, review the proposed budget, and hear public comment. The second budget meeting would be for the budget committee to approve the budget and set the date for the public hearing. We need to publish the public hearing date if approved on June 9th. But we have the ability to have an additional meeting on June 10th if needed. So if the issues that may come up on the June 3rd meeting are not solved, then we have an additional on June 10th. The 17th is the public hearing on the approved budget and the board adoption of the budget. June 30th is the final date that we have to adopt the budget. The funds that we use at Pleasant Hill, general fund, comes from state funding and the local property taxes, our interest earnings, and other local sources. Our special revenue fund comes from grants, federal and state local grants, student body funds, reserves, nutrition services, and it is funded, the reserves are funded by general fund transfers. The debt service fund is funded by local property taxes, and it goes for bond payment. So uses and restriction, the general fund is for the district's general operation. There's not a restriction in how you can use that. The special revenue funds consist of grants, Student body funds, reserves. The grants are restricted by the terms of that individual grant. The student body funds are restricted for two purposes for which the fund is collected, like if they're fundraising. The reserves are restricted for uses by the board, resolution on what the purpose of the reserves are. And then the nutrition fund is restricted to support the food service program. Debt service fund is our Go bond, and so that sets up our payments on that bond. Once a year, we make a bond payment, and usually twice a year, we make interest payment on that. State school fund. It's distributed through a formula developed to provide equal funding to all districts. It's allocated on a per student basis with extra weighting for certain special needs. The 23-25 state school budget was approved at $10.2 billion. We're going into the second year of the biennium. The funds were distributed for 49% the first year and 51% for the second year. So we'll be budgeting on 51%. This is really hard. This is what the state gives us. It's an estimate of how they are figuring our how much money comes our way. They basically, we have a per student allocation. They take out what we assume that we're going to collect through taxes. They give us a transportation grant. If we go on to the next one, a lot of these things are pulled out. They're easier to read. So for our local revenue, we have property taxes. We have a common school fund and a county school fund. The common school fund and county school fund are also released on a per student basis, but we really never know what that is going to be. It's always an estimate. So the common school fund estimate there was given to us by the state, their best guess at the time. The 25,000 is my best guess on the county school fund. So local revenue, we're expecting 3.8 million. These numbers change. We get sometimes we get new estimates a couple times a month. Sometimes we go months without getting them. Sometimes we get adjustments to estimates that are 2 years old. We just adjusted our ADM for 21-22 last week. And we just roll with it and roll it in. You have no idea why it changed 3 years ago. The state school fund also brings into consideration the experience of our teachers. The theory behind it is that the more experience your teachers have, the more they cost. So if you have younger teachers, they should be costing a little less, newer and more younger. So we have an experience adjuster. So they figure out the average teacher experience in our district. They compare that to the state average, and they give you more money or less money based on where you stand. So our adjustment right now is a negative 1.12. So they figure that we're a year behind the average of the state. Transportation grant. We are in a position to get 70% of our transportation costs reimbursed. So we're guessing it was going to cost us about $650,000 this upcoming year. And so we will bring in $455,000 of that. So that money gets added into our state school fund, but it goes out as an expense. So this is something that you'll see in our services. It goes into our books as a pure expense, even though we're getting some of this back. So it comes in as revenue, and goes out as an expense.
So the 70% is adjustable?
There are conditions under which you can get something different than 70%. It's very rare. One of the exceptions is like if you're in a super remote school district where you spend a lot of money transporting not very many students, you can get 80 or 90 or I think 90 is the highest I've heard. I'm not really sure about that, but almost everybody's at 70. It's not common to get less or more. Extended ADMW, that's average daily membership weighted. So it's weighted with, I'm not giving a lot of description on that. It's weighted with things that they think are going to cost more, like students with disabilities, students, ESL, English second language, So so we have a count of how many students we think we're gonna have, and then we have the conditions under which we think those students fall. And that gets adjusted all the time, but we're seeing that in 2024, 25, we're expecting it to be 151. 1,151. In 23, 24, it's just that tick higher. The way the system works, it gives you the highest of the last 2 years, and that's to provide some flow. So if you lost 50 kids, all of a sudden you aren't gonna have to lay out a teacher for this year. So it doesn't, the float doesn't help us out because we're really stable. But there are years in which it can help in the school districts, which it really doesn't. The general purpose grant. This is a strange formula that the state uses to figure out how to, well, I don't know, what to charge, what to use as the function in the formula, of how many students you have and then how many dollars they're gonna do towards that. So the weird number is that 2.34088. That is something that's taken by getting the whole state school fund and dividing it by the whole weighted student population of the state. So basically, that formula changes every time kids come in or go out of the system or change where they belong in the system as far as their weighting. So that number rolls all the time, but it doesn't change in huge amounts because population doesn't change in huge amounts. But that's how they come to that $12 million that they say that we are to get this year. They're gonna take that $12 million and they're gonna take out the 3,800,000 local units. No, we're there, sorry, there. The state school grant, take out a local revenue. So really what the state's gonna pay us at this time is estimated to be $8,679,000. So we have our per student weight by the formula plus our transportation grant, and then minus our taxes. So as the year goes by, if we're seeing that our student population is down or up, or our tax income goes up or down, you can change your formula, you can change your estimate, and the state will give you a new formula. And as other schools change, formula changes as well. So it doesn't, because we're a conservative district that has a nice income balance, we don't have to stress those changes. But these numbers will continue to float for a couple of years, actually. The state school estimate this year is that the general purpose grant will be $10,468 per weight, Total formula revenue means it includes the transportation grant, and it goes up to 10,806. That will also change some. So this is the chart that shows how the weighting is figured. You will see the 23-24 and the 24-25, because those are the two that they're going to compare, 2 years. And then they're going to give us the highest of those comparisons. So you can see that not much has changed in the, sorry, it's tiny on the page and up on the wall. They haven't hardly changed any numbers. Tiny change in the students, the IEPs, a little bit of change in the ADMR. So ADMR means the actual student count without the weight. But at the bottom, you get that weighted amount, which is going to be $1,151.97. Our projected ADMR, which is without the weighting, for this upcoming year, we're expecting 441 kids in K-5, 559 kids in 6 through 12, and that would be 1,000 children. Our actual count in January of this year was 970. And we had budgeted last year for 1,000. Additional state funding. So we have the state school fund grant. We have a small high school grant. So that means if we are under 350 students, we're eligible for that grant, and then we get a portion of that grant based on how many other schools are sharing the grant with us. And how far away, the further we are from 350, the higher we get. So 55,000 is my estimate of what we will get this upcoming year. A high cost disability grant is a grant that we get for students, individual students that cost us over $30,000 in a year to educate. So everything over 30,000, we get to claim to the state. It also is a set fund that everybody takes from, so you don't always get all of it. I think this last year it went up to get about 46% of that amount over 30,000 reimbursed to us. So I did estimate 45,000. For some reason this year it came in quite a bit higher for the 23-24 year, but I think that might have been a fluke. So we again are conservatively budgeting at the 45,000. So we have our budget committee meeting on Monday the 20th, where we'll receive the superintendent's budget message. We'll review the budget and we'll hear discuss public comment. If you have any questions before our meeting, after you get that budget, you simply can send them between the two meetings. You can send it to Jim, send it to me. We will try to answer any questions that you have and we'll send it out to the whole committee. So everybody's at the same spot and kind of up to speed as we have these meetings. And I'm open for any questions that you have on this. Well, thank you very much.
All right. 6.0 action item, 6.1 consent agenda. As we've been doing. These go all once, correct? Your motion regarding the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda next to the one.
Second. Been moved and seconded, chief to the discussion. All those in favor say aye. 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 Motion passes unanimously. 7.0 report information, 7.1 Pleasantville Elementary School report. Good evening, Deborah.
Good evening, Bill. What I have for you is a whole bunch of numbers, and then they add even more numbers to it for you. Right now, the elementary, our monthly attendance rate is in the 90s. We did see an uptick at 3rd grade and 4th grade. We made it to 95%. So we were very excited. We did a little bit of celebrating as a staff that we hit 82.33% regular attenders at our last staff meeting. We always do a data walk. And so it's just nice to have just a little mini celebration and kind of reflect on all the cool things that are going on in classrooms for kids. So we're beginning to prepare for next year. I mean, we kind of started this process in March when we opened kindergarten registration orientation on the 20th. But it's time to start reflecting on our students that we have present in our classrooms and start planning next year as far as classroom placement. And one of the things that we do is we have a classroom placement form that we invite parents to add their voice and ideas into what they would like to see environmentally for their student. We ask that they not put teacher names. If they want to talk specifically about teachers, they're going to come visit with me. And we've always found that this is a helpful process and parents appreciate it being there. We've also been working with the middle school and high school staff, talking through our transition of our 5th graders who will be becoming 6th graders very shortly. And we want to assist in any way that we can to help them have a smooth transition. And the very first activity coming up is May 14th. Our 5th graders will be going over that morning and tutoring the middle school as well as having a question and answer time. And then that evening will be the first chance for parents to be involved as well. And there will be a parent meeting at 6 o'clock in the student center. As of today, I'm happy to say we are up to 34 kindergartners. And doing a little bit of data diving and looking, we have 13 students who are with us at registration orientation day who have yet to enroll. Of those, 5 of them are on inter-district transfer. So they would like to come in as inter-district transfer, either because they have a sibling here or they've selected to come to Pleasant Hill. And we have 8 that we reached out to, talk to them about, hey, you haven't enrolled yet, is there something that we can do? Unfortunately, we had a little glitch that evening with Synergy, as I've explained to you, and so we're offering the assistance that we can. And as of this evening, both schools have opened a verification of information process, formerly known as spring registration, to all of our current families, and as of this evening, we have 76% of our current families who have verified enrollment K through 5. We're also busy doing OSAS testing. Everyone in the building today was tested, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. I'm happy to report that we're not seeing a lot of opt-outs at the elementary. At 3rd grade, we have 97% of our population testing, 4th grade, 94%, and at the 5th grade level, 96%. And I'd like to take a moment to invite you to the talent show, which we made between advertisements. And so it went from Billy's Goat Talent Show to Billy's Greatest Show. And that will be happening Thursday at 1 o'clock. There will be an afternoon performance. And then there will also be an evening performance at 6:30, and you are all invited to join us. Any questions?
This is in regards to working with middle school for the 5th graders to come up. What does that look like? Without getting too far in the way, what does it look like from staff here to staff, or staff at the elementary to staff at the middle school for this year?
Right now, we will be providing them a data sheet with all the information that we have gathered on our students, and we've been working with Chris and Caleb as we updated that they're going to be asking us for. And again, our students will be going over with our staff on the 14th, meeting their staff as well, and then having a Q&A time with the students as well as staff, I believe. I'm gonna kind of turn it over to them because I don't want to misspeak for them.
What she said. Yeah,
I was just curious because we're talking about developing these systems of support, and I was just curious if we're there yet, or if this is even going to be part of the process. So I don't want it to sound like I feel like we should be having. I'm just curious
Yeah.
if there's like specific conversations, maybe not now, but at the end of the school year about students from like the teachers here to subject teachers in the middle school. I'm curious if that kind of stuff happens, just kind of a handoff. Where we're looking at, these are the students that we've been supporting, so that you guys can hit the ground running come September. I'm just curious if there's anything like that.
We have talked about doing something like that. The elementary teachers have offered to be available if that's something that the middle school teachers would like to be involved in. But at this time, they're asking just primarily for data and who was involved in intervention support of the elementary.
Okay.
Specific to special education, we're doing a lot of that kind of work, what I call the one handoff. We've been working all year, our middle school special education teachers have attended a lot of the IEP meetings for our 5th grade students, and our staff working pretty closely to hand those students off so that we can make sure that they land as softly as possible in that transition. So
Yeah, that sounds great. They've been participating all year, but
yeah.
that's great. Good. Very much.
You're welcome.
7.2 middle school report. Good evening, Caleb.
hey there. Yeah, I think the only thing I would add regarding outside tiers of support is looking at how can we help kids transition to middle school when those systems align. So looking at what is the information we're getting, fifth grade teachers and the intervention that they're implementing, and what are we doing? And when those align, how are we able to move those kids up? But that's. March students of the month, this is for March, just due to the way the board meeting calendar went, got kids nominated. Student of the month, sixth grade Junie Epperson, seventh grade Ariana Bowman, eighth grade Eva Aguilar. Most improved student of the month, sixth grade James Dooley, seventh grade Steele Hubbard, and eighth grade Alyssa Seeley. Citizen of the month, Harper Keone, seventh grade Ainsley Simmons, eighth grade Nellie Smith. Last week we had 25 kids, including you, I believe, attend the showing of Macbeth at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival in Ashland. We had 30 students also participating in fly fishing college workshop, courtesy of Cascade Fly Fishers last Friday. I've updated DNF by core class by grade level, as well as updated attendance percentages by grade. Looking forward, we have our, we're starting English language arts for OSAS this week. Friday, our eighth graders will be taking a field trip to the University of Oregon. And then the following Friday evening, we'll have our glow in the dark dance. This last thing I would add is in regards to the fifth to sixth grade transitions. We'll have the, like Deborah mentioned, the kids come over during the day, the parent night. We're also building out what student leadership will look like, both for the spring as well as next fall activities to help them transition. And leverage that first day where we'll have sixth graders in middle school. Thanks.
Yeah, questions for Caleb? And thank you, Caleb. 7.3 high school report. Evening, Chris.
Good evening, how you guys doing? So the last weekend was our winter club auction, it was held April 27th at the Armory. They said there was about 175 attendees, which they think was their biggest to date. And approximate numbers at the time, they said it grossed about $77,000 at the event, netting over $60,000 after expenses. So it was a good event, pretty fun, and I would say people were very generous with their money. Prom is the big thing this week, so we have prom from here on Saturday. But beautiful weather, so it's like 85 degrees, and so it should be just a great night for the prom. The day 2 is going to be at the Springfield Armory. The theme is Red Carpet Affair. We have a DJ. We're just getting the song list out so we can start. Kids can start putting together a playlist for the DJ for prom as well. He will take requests at live events. So take requests as well. And then OSAS testing, we're gonna swing of that. As you can tell, my numbers are not as good as Deborah's in high school. It's amazing. 42 out of 77 juniors have opted out of testing. So we're running that right now in the classes. I put together third quarter grades, and I try to do this a little bit different for you every time I show them. I show you different twists on grades. So basically, third quarter Fs, well, the number of Fs that we had third quarter per grade, and also just the number of students that earn. So sometimes when you see it, almost 36 students are getting Fs in their classes. We have 15 students that are earning 36 Fs, 27 are earning 53 in the sophomore class, 26 juniors earning 63 Fs, and then 19 seniors earning 26 Fs. So we had our second to 3 senior meetings last week, and the senior meetings were the council staff, myself, this time the foundation also had some time with the seniors to talk about the scholarships, the foundation scholarships that are coming up, and the senior parents get a chance to talk about the events that are coming up for them. And at that time, I had told them that at that day we were going to call people out of graduation. There was 21 seniors that were failing a class that they need to graduate at. So I have that list from the professor, and I began calling these parents at home, sending them with their at least they get a phone call. Every parent gets a phone call that says that your senior is on the no graduate list right now. So No, and it's surprising to know the kids that you find on there, that they'll get it. Our attendance put together, our regular attenders, we're always hovering in that low 70% range. Trying to get that 11th grade, actually picked it up a little bit in April. The average daily attendance is always around that 90%, but it is 11th to 12th grade is less than that, 46% of our average daily attendance. But, and that's, oh, the other thing, we just met today for ASB elections. We'll start ASB elections just after Memorial Day weekend. So we'll get the campaigns and get the notices out that we'll want to apply to run for ASB or that. And we'll start that process. They make a speech, we're gonna video record everything virtual this time. So it'll be in the cool classroom, we can give a 1-minute speech to their peers and watch it in their class and then vote here. So that'll take place after that.
Thank you very much. Questions for Chris? Point oh, superintendent communication, 8.1 board self-evaluation.
Believe it or not, it's that time of year again for board self-evaluation as well. So what you've got in your packet is last year's self-evaluation document that you used. So just want to give plenty of time in front of you, see if there's changes, process, timeline, and then how myself, if you believe, can support you that process. First thing is thoughts on the actual evaluation document, any changes you may want to make. Good with it.
So the 17th is our last board meeting until the summer, correct? June 17th?
Yes.
When we only have essentially 3 more board meetings. Correct. Yeah. That's great.
Maybe going forward, considering that if there's not changes, I want to keep this again, what the timeline process might be for it.
Do we have any input on changing or keeping the evaluation formula we've been using?
Then if you wanted to use June 17th, that's kind of summative piece for discussion, what that looks like as far as working back. So we look this out as soon as that's tomorrow. If I remember right, they went back to the chair. So the question would be, how soon would you want them back to you?
For discussion on the 17th.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we get before. Support Father's Day, right?
So no later than,
No later than the 15th, June 15th.
okay. First thing, yeah.
We can do that too. I mean,
If we got them out, we would literally get them out, make sure everyone had a copy on tomorrow, May 7th. And that's June 10th, we want not early get it done to get it back to you.
okay, June 10th works.
Okay, and for June 17th for the agenda, then we would have space in there for, or for discussion.
Yep. Do you have thoughts on that?
What's waiting so long for?
It's giving you guys time, you know, everybody, how busy everybody is, and how busy I am.
And then quick update on library, where that construction has got started, got as much demolition as they could get done. We're still waiting on the county to finalize permit process. We think maybe they'll do this week. There's some review stuff that we have to get done. And then they'll be back in going. They're super motivated to get it done. They've got like 9 other school district jobs that are planned out ahead in terms of Eugene and Springfield, so they jumped right on it. They're ready to go. Just gotta get the next 5 months.
How many board communication? 10.0 other business. 11.0 next meeting, as previously stated, we'll have a board and budget committee on the 20th. Right here at 7 p.m. Community Center. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.